Pharmaceutical industry coming into sharp focus at the height of the pandemic.
Indeed, Stephen, and remaining that way, we are now talking about Janssen in Europe, the Middle East and Africa. They are a pharmaceutical company of Johnson & Johnson, and we are joined now virtually by the firm's Vice President for Emerging Markets, that's Asgar Rangoonwala. Thank you so much for your time, Asgar, as we're going to be talking about the business of healthcare in emerging markets. Quite an interesting topic, as the COVID-19 pandemic has really struck the globe to change the dynamics of the healthcare business in emerging markets. How have we been faring?
First of all, it's great to be with you, and thanks for having me. Emerging market is always an evergreen. Not only that I look after the African continent, but also the Middle East and Russia, Ukraine. As you can imagine, I have a couple of things on my plate. But you mentioned the right thing. Healthcare is, especially after the pandemic, more and more into the focus area of all governments on this planet, right? So I can give you an example out of my region. Egypt, for example, is just opening a lot of opportunities for patients to get access to innovative medicines across different therapeutic areas in oncology and mental health, in immunology, things we haven't seen in the last year. So obviously, public health, but also especially care becomes a priority for every government I'm aware of. And I'm pretty sure also South Africa has a very similar discussion.
And based on that, in the past 2 years, we've seen the globe and the global economy really focusing on healthcare as a top priority. What role is there then for pharmaceuticals to play in that arena?
Yeah, for us, it's important that we bring new solutions to patients, right? So because, a healthy society is productive. If we are cynical, then of course, a healthy patient or a healthy person is much more productive than a sick person, which is straightforward and easy to understand. So I think the awareness about that fact that healthcare investment is an investment, not just a cost, is becoming more and more prominent in everybody's mind, including political leaders. So that means I would expect that, healthcare becomes more and more a priority, and even more so in the future, especially in the emerging markets. I can give you an example, and also you asked the question Janssen could play here. If you think about mental health, it becomes a very hot topic in the last couple of years. Yeah. It was always the same issue. Nothing changed during the pandemic, but people got more aware that mental health is a big element in terms of public health. So what we see is not only in South Africa, but in many African countries, we get approached as one of the leading companies in central CNS kind of indication, that means mental health, to find solutions for patients suffering from depression, from schizophrenia. And this is now a discussion we have even in these days with the South African government. How can we provide better solutions to the broader African and South African population in terms of mental health? So our role as Janssen, as a company belonging to Johnson & Johnson, which is, by the way, the biggest health company in the world, is not just to provide products, but also to provide solutions in order to ensure the best possible treatment outcome for patients.
The latter segues to my next question, really, about how then the business of healthcare can diversify, particularly when we're talking about making profits in a time of a pandemic, particularly here on the South African landscape. Talking about emerging markets, there's serious opportunity in terms of drug makers, pharmaceutical companies, ensuring that we localize product.
Yeah. You have seen most probably the news that we have an agreement with the South African company Asgar for our COVID-19 vaccine, which is one of many